And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Oh my gosh, I do not think it is possible for Joe Biden to have made a mess up worse than that. That has to be the worst night so far on record for Joe Biden. You mixed up Zelensky with Putin. I don't think it can get worse than that. I really don't think it can get worse than that. And let's see how Joe Biden defended himself, shall we, for his monumental fuck up. Excuse my French.
I wanted to ask you about your, you mixed up Presidents Zelensky and Putin earlier today. And you now have sort of your key allies, including the British Prime Minister, the President of France, and the German Chancellor having to step in and make excuses for you on that. Officials here are saying off the record that your decline has become noticeable. Hasn't this now, frankly, become damaging for America's standing in the world? Thank you.
Did you see any damage to our standing in my leading this conference? Have you seen a more successful conference?
What?
What do you think?
Successful?
And the Putin piece, I was talking about Putin, and I said, and now, at the very end, I said, here, I mean, Putin. I said, no, I'm sorry, Zelensky. And then I added 5 other names. Look, guys, the idea anybody suggests that we haven't had an incredibly successful conference.
What?
How many times did you hear in that conference, I don't know if it sounds too self-serving, but other leaders, heads of state, in thanking me, saying the reason we're together is because of Biden, because Biden did the following. Look, folks, this is well, anyway.
Is painful to watch. It is excruciatingly painful to watch. How on earth is this man, A, still president of the United States right now, and B, on paper as the candidate to hold the position of president for another term? I mean, you've got to be joking me. How have they not managed to kick this man off his throne yet? He cannot go on as president until the end of his term, let alone for another term. But you thought because the viral video that you saw was him mixing up Putin and Zelensky, you thought that that was the only thing that went wrong in that conference. No. I've got plenty more in store for you, because the entire night was fuck up after fuck up after fuck up. I mean, it is just unbelievable how many times he made himself look like he is living on another planet. He is living on another planet. His head is just not there. He's confused. He's in another place. I feel sorry for the guy. Someone go take him for some care for his issues that he's going through. Don't make him run as president of the United States. God help us. So these 2 clips I'm just about to show you, these were 50 seconds apart, completely contradictory. Take a look. Speaking of Putin.
Is Putin ready to talk? I'm not ready to talk to Putin. I'm prepared to talk to any leader who wants to talk, including if Putin called me and wanted to talk.
These 2 clips were 50 seconds apart. He could not remember what he said less than a minute ago when he said the second part. He says he's not ready to talk to Putin, and then he says he's ready to talk to everyone. Now, I don't know which was a worse mess up. Okay, probably the Putin mess up was probably the worst, but this has to be second on the list. Him calling his vice president Trump rather than Kamala Harris. Take a listen to this.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president.
Do you know what? Let's just hear it one more time. I think we need to. One more time.
I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president.
Vice President Trump. He thinks his vice president is Trump. Some people are making some memes online saying clearly Trump lives in Biden's head rent-free if he's making this mess up. Now, of course, he got challenged by a journalist about this monumental fuck-up, number 2, after the Putin and Zelensky thing. And his response is, let's just say, interesting.
Respectfully, earlier you misspoke in your opening answer. Vice President Harris as Vice President Trump. Right now, Donald Trump is using that to mock your age and your memory. How do you combat that criticism from tonight?
Listen to him.
This concludes tonight's press conference. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Oh my god. The only thing he had to say was, listen to him, and then he walks off like a child throwing a tantrum because he doesn't want to face the music and answer the question. And notice the fact that as soon as he gets a difficult question like that, suddenly there's an announcement saying, that's it, that concludes the press conference. No more questions, which might show that Biden is not fit for office and that his head is in another place. Quick, 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 end it, everyone. Honestly, this man cannot be in power. But don't worry, guys. I've got more clips for you. You can see even more evidence of the fact that Biden is not all there in the head. Honestly, from just last night, we've got a whole dossier of evidence to show that this man is not fit for office. So take a look at this. He's talking, and then suddenly he sees something in the distance, don't know what, and his head just changes. He doesn't know where he is. He starts talking some mumbo jumbo. Take a listen.
I'm going to go to South Korea. We're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea.
Look at that. He's talking, and suddenly he sees something in the distance. He goes, what are you doing? And then he starts talking about Japan and Korea. Let's just play that one more time. One more time.
I'm going to go to South Korea. We're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea.
I'm going to get Japan and Korea. And what planet are you on? Now, you probably want a little bit of context here. What was he saying before this? Well, don't worry, guys. I've got the clip. Let's take a listen. He's being asked here about whether he will take a neurological test to show that he is fit to be in office. Because obviously some of us have, let's just say, some concerns. I think it's fair to say.
Are you open to taking another physical or test before the election? Governor Whitmer of Michigan, for instance, said it wouldn't hurt to take a test.
Well, look, two things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist.
The fact that he cannot say neurological tests and his stumbling over the word neurological, I think, even if you say, Biden, that you passed those tests with flying colours, which I'm sure is absolute BS, I think we can see that you ain't all there in the head, my friend. You are not all there. I'm sorry, hate to break it to you, but you are not passing. Maybe in February you passed those tests with flying colours, as you say that you did, but I think a lot of people are saying that just in the past few months, Biden has declined a lot since the spring, so he might have been okay in February, but now he's like a different person.
In each case, as recently as February, and they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot, but I'm good.
No, you're
I'm
not.
tested every single day about my neurological capacity to do decisions I make every day. You talk to my staff, all of you talk to my staff. Sometimes my staff talks a lot. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you have them telling you that all the major ideas we've undertaken haven't been in part initiated by me. I remember when the staff and I said, I'm going to go to South Korea, we're going to get the chip. What are you doing? I'm going to get Japan and Korea back together again after essentially having hostilities toward one another since the end of World War II.
What is he talking about? He was saying there how he's in good mental shape because he is involved in all of the decisions that are made. I doubt it. I think everyone else is running the show for you, and maybe you give a thumbs up to say that's all right, go ahead, and that's it, and you say that just putting your stamp of approval, a little bit of thumbs up, means that you're in good shape. So he's talking about that, how he makes decisions on a daily basis. And then suddenly he starts talking about like Japan and South Korea and this mumbo jumbo. No one understands what's going on. He doesn't understand what is going on. This man has to go. And I've got one more thing to end on from that NATO summit conference last night to just show how crazy Joe Biden is, right? He comes up with some tagline, and what is it? Control guns, not girls. Take a listen.
Control guns, not girls. I mean, the idea, we're sitting around, that's where Kamala's so good as well. We're sitting around. More children are killed by a bullet than any other cause of death. The United States of America. What the hell are we doing? What are we doing? We got a candidate saying, promise the NRA, don't worry, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. We got a Supreme Court that is what you might call the most conservative court in American history. This is ridiculous.
The man's on another planet. What is he on about? What is this tagline? Control guns, not girls. Sorry, when were we talking about controlling girls? What? I mean, the whole thing was a complete shit show, okay? That there is no way that you can dress it up and do pretty stuff with the camera work to make it look like he did not monumentally mess that up, right? You thought that debate with Trump was as bad as it could get. Oh, no, I think this was a heck of a lot worse, and he has to go. And we're now seeing reports that 90 million worth of campaign funds have now been frozen. The donors have said, we are freezing this money until Joe Biden is no longer the candidate. People are finally waking up. The Democrat Party are finally panicking. They should have panicked a heck of a long time ago and got rid of him ages ago, not at the last minute. But they are finally panicking and saying, we cannot have this man. He is not there and the world can see it. We haven't managed to cover it up any longer. Now, there are a couple problems that you have. So first of all, Joe Biden, he needs to decide really to step down for himself. And so his close friends and family need to tell him, Joe, you're getting too old, you need help, you're not all with it in the head anymore, you need to be taken care of, you do not need to be taking care of the United States, absolutely no way. But no, Jill Biden and his son, they're being like, go on Joe, you got this, you're amazing, you're smashing it, you're the best president the US has ever had, you've got to go do another term, because Jill Biden wants another term herself, basically. She loves the fame and the power, so she will push poor Joe through it for her own gain. Absolutely unacceptable. So that is a problem. So the only way that they're going to manage to get rid of him is by just saying, you ain't getting any money if you carry on, Joe. So we've got the campaign funds being frozen. Now, another problem, though, is that if they bring in another candidate, they haven't actually got much time to fundraise for the new candidate. So they've got a money problem either way, whether they keep him or they lose him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The other huge problem is the Kamala Harris problem. What is the Kamala Harris problem? She is a woman of colour. If you get rid of Joe, she is the next obvious in line to be the president and or the presidential candidate. And she is very, very unpopular. She sometimes even polls even worse than Joe Biden. So people don't want her. But it is a huge issue for them to get rid of a woman of colour in favour of, let's say, someone like Gavin Newsom, this California guy, who is a white male. If you ask me, I think the only way that they can solve this Kamala Harris problem is if they manage to convince Michelle Obama to come back and run herself, because she, of course, is also a woman of colour. So that solves the Kamala Harris problem. I mean, isn't it such a shame that we live in an era where someone's gender and someone's colour of their skin is so important when it comes to who gets to be the leader of a political party? But I'm afraid in today's day and age, it is a huge issue for them what they do about Kamala Harris. I think there's a chance that we get rid of Joe Biden with them freezing their campaign funds, and then we end up having to have Kamala Harris because of this problem. And she's not going to be that much better, but I mean, at least she might not have dementia. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Would you rather have Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? I'm interested to know your guys' thoughts. And also let me know, what do you think was worse, the debate with Trump or what happened last night at this NATO summit with all those clips that I've just shown you. I want to know what you think looked the worst for Joe Biden. I'm Chloe Dobbs. This is another video for Reasoned. Make sure you're subscribed to the Reasoned channel and you press the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I will see you guys tomorrow.